not in any way, shape or form did it come back at the beginning. In fact, for the first many years, it felt like it was going in the other direction.
Because you were so engrossed in working in the personality and...
Yeah, I felt like I was becoming more reactive, more consumed by my personality, more identified with it. In fact, turns out what was actually happening was I was becoming more aware of the globalness of the personality. And as I was becoming more aware, it just felt like, my God, things getting bigger. So there was a period of time when I was beginning to wonder.
But were you okay with that?
Because of the orientation of the Diamond Approach, yes. Because it's not about a state. It's, in a way, it's about freedom from any state. It's about the freedom to be exactly where you are in any given moment. So, if I'm identified with my personality, the work would be to be there. And if I'm having an experience of essence or true nature of some sort, it's to be there.
Yeah.
So, I think if it had had any different orientation, I would have really lost faith. But that's the orientation of that teaching.
And then what happened?
Well, really, nothing happened so much it's really still happening.
Yeah.
Which is that orientation, that practice, if you like, I think is a better way of putting it, of being exactly where you are, showing up to what is here, is the adventure.
No, I understand that. I was more interested in the kind of, did the experiences you had reappear within the context of your adventure with the Diamond Approach?
I would say yes, but in a very different way. Not in the sort of way they had appeared before, which is to sort of wipe me out. But more in the Diamond Approach, we really see that kind of wiping out experience of the self is not really possible in many ways to maintain or to sustain without having support from true nature. So in the beginning of the Diamond Approach, we work on not the non-dual, really, but more some of the ways true nature manifests itself, in particular aspects of itself. So we don't go for the big bang, as in many ways it's more a gradual sense of self-realization. Many, many, many tastes leading to a particular conclusion.
Well, you've got me intrigued now. What's the particular conclusion?
Well, the particular conclusion is really the experience that there is only one.
Yes.
But in the Diamond Approach, even that is not a single state.
Explain that, Tejo.
Well, the way I would see it is that the experience or the recognition or the realization that there is only one can happen in many, many different ways. With many different flavors, I would say. It's when I experienced it with Osho, there was this kind of mind wipe, and then this experience of I think people call it cosmic consciousness, which is hard to explain, but there's no sense of self as we know it, but there is a sense of oneness. And that's, in a nutshell, how all reality can show up. But for me in the Diamond Approach, it hasn't really showed up in quite that way. It's been more a sense that I suppose it's a case of I am that, rather than it is that. So it's a question of identity, I suppose. That it's not a wiping out, it's the wiping of familiar self, if you like, or a recognition that we're not familiar self. But it's not as if there's something other than me.
No, I can understand.
You kind of
that.
get where I'm going there? So, and it's subtle. It's super, super subtle. And it's, again, it doesn't have that big bang experience that I had been having. And I think part of that's because of the gradual unfoldment and the process of inquiry of each experience, no matter how subtle, can be penetrated, can be inquired into.
And this is one of the things of people that don't know about the Ridhwan school Dharma approach. It's very much a question of sitting there, as you were saying right at the beginning, about being with what's happening, and then inquiring and understanding about what is and about how you are, and not judging what is right and what is wrong. You should be somewhere else, shouldn't be there.
Right.
Just understanding what is going on, much as you can.
Right. So it's really where whatever's manifesting, you be there, and if curiosity arises towards that, which it invariably does, then wow, let's check it out. Let's have a look.
And so I'm not trying to pin you down, but I'm trying to have a context, because we've done quite a few programs on non-duality.
Right.
I know you haven't watched them, so you're at a disadvantage, and I've either been there or seen them, so I understand what's in there. And it's been a very interesting journey for me on that. And so far as many people say there's something, quantum happens, and then that's basically it, and there's a personality wipeout, although things are still running. And some people say that they have no control of it, but over time things lessen, there's less impact because things are not reinforced. Other people talk about a process of integration, and there may be a series of glimpses of the truth, and then something more significant happens. But there's integration, and somehow the personality is almost going through a process of dissolving or catching up or whatever, and then something more stable happens. And I'm more interested not in all the details of your situation, but do you find more stability now in things?
Yeah, I think what we would call it, I think we use the word station in the Dharma approach, that there are certain realizations that feel like they're there. They're not necessarily the foreground, but if I turn my consciousness in that direction, they're there. And the process of integration really is where the work is in the world. You know, can I live from the realization that I have? Can it affect how I move, think, speak, make contact with people, rather than being something abstract? And I think the Dharma approach is really, it is a school of the integration of true, what we call true nature. To be in the world, at the same time recognizing that we are beyond, in many ways, the world.